Welcome back to Go Harper Racing. We're in the kart trailer. We've got 2 weeks until our next race. So this video is going to be a lot of time in the kart barn. We've got some things we've got to do on the trailer. We've got a broken leaf spring that we need to replace. We'll go ahead and replace all of them while we're at it. We're going to do some kart maintenance and we're going to get everything ready and try to get Harper going a little bit faster for the next mini wedge race in 2 weeks. So come hang out and let's get some stuff done. We're back in the barn, about to unload the trailer. Or I was going to unload the trailer and start getting the karts ready for our next race. Realized I had a flat tire. Found the nail in the tire, was about to go pull out the plug kit to fix the hole, and I realized that the springs on one of the trailer axles were broken. So now we've got some major trailer maintenance to do. So I am going to unload the karts to get a little weight out the trailer. We're going to jack up the trailer, we're going to pull the tires off and start to look at what we need to order to get the trailer repaired. Let's go have some fun. Got Harper here putting the jack on the trailer. Getting the tires off the ground so we can change the leaf springs on this side. Well, here's an unobstructed view. I've gone ahead and ordered leaf spring kit for all 4 leaf springs. So we'll be changing the springs on both axles. It says it'll be in on Thursday. So we'll have plenty of time to get that done before the next race. Also, there's a great view of our nail on the tire. So we can go ahead and get a plug in that right now. All right, we've got the plug in the tire, so that's ready to go. Wait a couple of days for the new leaf spring kit to come in and we'll slap that on there. In the meantime, let's get to work on Harper's kart. We've got the karts out, Harper's kart here. Harper's kart is over 50 pounds overweight and it's been like that all season. Why haven't I fixed it? Well, because it's not easy. When we started the season, we had a 350-pound total weight rule. That quickly changed to a 300-pound rule. Harper only weighs 50 pounds. To get this kart up to 350 pounds, I had to put 80 pounds of weight in here. And in order to get 80 pounds of weight in here, I couldn't just strap a bunch of lead balls to all the cage here. There just wasn't enough room, enough straps, and to be frank, to get a big enough weights in there, it would have been kind of dangerous. So what I had to do was pull that seat out and pour molten lead under the seat on the floor pan to get enough weight in there to make it make weight. So there is now a solid chunk of lead under that seat, between the seat and the floor pan in the frame. So I've got to pull everything out of this kart to get that out of there. And even once I get everything out, it's not going to be easy. Just to get the seat out, I got to pull the motor out. And then even once I've got the seat and the motor out, I'm probably going to have to soften that lead to get it out of there. Maybe even melt it enough to where I can catch it in something after I drill a hole through the floor pan. So here we go. We're going to start taking the kart apart so that we can get that lead out of there and get some weight down on Harper, because I think that'll really make a big difference in her ability to keep up with the other kids on the track. I'm not sure it was worth the trouble, but I managed to get a wrench in there and get the seat out without having to take the motor out. And this is what we have. This here, this whole thing is a giant block of lead. And I got to get that out of there. These seatbelt mounts are angled in, so it definitely cannot come just straight up like it is. I will either have to pry it up in a way that bends it and it'll come out the middle, or heat it up so that the parts around the seat belts are molten and get small enough to where it'll fit between these 2 brackets. But I'm gonna start by going ahead and taking the seat belts off, so while I'm messing with it, I don't mess those seat belts up. And then I'll maybe start to pry it on it a little and see how it's gonna give. All right, it's getting late in the evening. It's time for us to get on with the rest of the things we have to do in the evening: dinner, homework, all the fun stuff. So we're gonna leave this here and we're gonna come back to it tomorrow and every day for the rest of the week until we get it done and get ready for the next race. Hey, home another day after work. We got a package in from BMI. What I do every weekend is, as I use parts or We're at the track, a lot of people borrow parts, happy to share. I'll go ahead and start putting stuff in the cart. Race is over, take stock the next day, go ahead and press order on that cart. So a couple of orders this week, but one of them's in, so let's see what we got in the package. All right. Always fun. It's not too exciting. Let's see, we got, this is gonna be a bunch of wheel studs, the tapered ones, because those work better with the nuts. You can order them just the studs or the studs with the nuts. Makes a lot of sense, certainly, to order them with the nuts, because if you need studs, you probably need nuts. As these are the rubber seat washers, the mounting kit for that seat I'm working on that box stock. I actually ordered 2 mounting kits, so we will have an extra to keep in the trailer whenever we need that. And then you might remember that on that cart we were working on Wyatt's cart, the rear hub, we had a stud that was stuck in there. So I went ahead and ordered, this is a replacement for that rear hub. I had some extra rear hubs, that's what I used on his, but I wanted to make sure I had a couple more extras. So here we go, we've got a couple more extra rear hubs that we can use if we ever find ourselves in a situation, or we can share with friends at the track. These really aren't that expensive. They're less than like $20 a piece. All right, now it's time to get back in Harper's cart and pick up where we left off. We're gonna finish getting that lead out of that cart so we can start putting it back together 50 pounds lighter. Let's go. Well, there it is. That's what 50 pounds of molten lead looks like. I got it out of there. I got it from where it was wedged in. I got to get it the rest of the way out of the cart and clean up a little. Took a lot of heating, hit it with the map torch just to soften it up and pry it on it. And this is a metal bar that I put through the middle to help hold it in there. So pry it up on that and out it came. We just got another package in, so I'm gonna clear off the table and unload this one. It's a big one. All right, there it is, our new leaf springs for our trailer. Very well packed. It's stacked. There's 2 layers here, so 2 here and then 2 more below. It's tandem axle trailer. All the equipment and nuts and bolts and hangers and everything. So start getting these installed on the trailer. All right, we got one axle supported by some blocks of wood. We've got the other axle supported by this jack. So now we can start unbolting the leaf springs, and the leaf springs will drop off and the axles will stay, and then we'll bolt on the new ones. Here's a little comparison of the old springs and the new springs. Old springs had 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves. New springs have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. They appear to be the right length. Everything else looks good, so we'll continue the installation. Here's something fun. These are the nuts are coming off pretty easily. We don't live anywhere where they use road salt, not a lot of rust. But because these U-bolts are close to the ground, they have occasionally struck the ground. It's hard to see maybe in the video, but the bottoms of these are mushroomed. So they unscrew fine until you get to the bottom, and then it's just a whole lot of muscle to try to get them off the rest of the way. We are way too close to the ground for me to fit my big impact in there. So the only way to get them off is with the socket wrench. And if I have to, with a little bit of a cheetah bar. Well, I ended up just hitting them with the angle grinder and cutting them off. It was way easier than trying to muscle my way past that mushroom U-bolt. So there they are. Old springs are completely off. Time to go on with the new ones. Here's a chance to learn from my mistakes. Not on this trailer, but on another one we did recently. You see how these little plates they're pointed up. This is how they're supposed to be. But right now, the only reason this one's pointed up is I'm supporting this spring. It is not yet on the axle. If I let go of the spring, it's gonna droop down. If I were to put this other one on with it pointed down like that, this would not be set up right. And there's not a real easy way to get them back up without undoing at least one spring and getting them up there. So when you put these on, make sure go ahead and get the U-bolts on the axle, get this held upright before you put the other one on, and then make sure that one is also upright. Here's the other leaf on, both brackets pointing up. I had to let down that jack a little on this axle that I've already completed to get the leaf spring close enough to this axle so I can put the U-bolts on. Here, see, I've already got the U-bolts snugged up on that one. I still need to tighten everything up, but just getting everything started now. So we'll go ahead and get those U-bolts on. Another thing I want to show you, these are locking nuts, not like a nylon lock nut, but this nut actually has different threads at the end. So you can see how there's these little half circles on this side. This is the side that goes out when you go to screw it on. If you were to try to start it the other way with that end closest to the thread, you actually wouldn't be able to screw it on, but you might end up forcing it. So make sure it goes on this way, and when it gets to this end, it's gonna get real hard. So that's when you're gonna need your impact or your socket wrench and your box end wrench. There's not enough light this time of year. Not enough daylight. Well, I've got this seat out and I got access to everything back here. I'm gonna go ahead and change the way I wire the kill switch, the remote kill switch. I had been wiring 2 spade connectors, cutting this wire and using the remote kill switch to complete that circuit to kill it. I really only need to wire in one, and then I can wire the other one to a ground on the chassis to complete that circuit when I want to kill it. And that means I'd only have to just plug in one wire and alter one wire down here when I change motors. And I'm going to use a bullet connector when they come in, though for this right now I may have to use another spade connector because I don't have the bullet connectors yet. But once I get the bullet connector, that means I won't have to alter anything on the motor. This will just plug right into the existing bullet connector that comes on the motor. We're getting things back together. The seat belts are going back in. We took some time while the engine was accessible and went ahead and ran that kill switch wire a better way. Put on a fresh clutch. And actually we found out that Harper's brake had been dragging on one of the pads for who knows how long. So I slid that disc over in between the pads, so that wouldn't be the case anymore. So we are on our way to hopefully a little bit faster cart. All right, made a Harbor Freight haul. Went and exchanged the motor. Keep your receipt. Always get the 1-year warranty. Really no questions asked, so it works out good. I picked up 3 of these wrench organizers / holders, because we do have a lot of wrenches. I got a set of metric, I got a set of SAE, and then I've got this set of SAE that are the ratchet style. So the holder it came in is busted and old. It no longer clasps on this side, it just flops open. So be nice, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get it mounted on the wall. That way things are easy to get to and it takes up less space in the toolbox. Free parts magnet, some fresh can of WD-40, and then the dry lube. I like to use the dry lube on the wheel bearings. Oh, and a new set of cutoff wheels. Let's go ahead and get our wrenches loaded up here and we'll check them out mounted on the wall. All right, Nugget came in the trailer. He's loading up the wrenches. They look really good. So these holders, they're like a rubber material. They're the one that these wrenches came in. This is definitely plastic, but this is that's a flexible rubber. I think it'll last a lot longer to hold really well, I think, in the trailer as it moves down the road. These lap screws and everything inside the trailer. They've got a really nice big head built right into them, and it has some different length ones. I have the 1 inch. I have a 1 5/8 inch here. And I did have to drill out the wrench holders just a little bit to fit it over that head. So there's little rubber pieces on here. So we've got them up there. Here's the last one. Slide it on there and slide it down, and there we go. It's gonna look really nice, and they're on there pretty good. I mean, I'm not worried about them moving while we're driving down the road. Draining the oil out of Harper's cart. White already got the oil out of his. Catching it in the bucket. About to go in with the fresh stuff. Stays warm down here, so we're using 10W30. If it were to get real cold, or we use somewhere up north, maybe during the winter, a 5W30. We measure it out. It's 2 cups to fill up a Predator, 212. It's especially important if you got an engine mount, because the engine mount tilts the engine. You can't use the dipstick to test the oil fill. So we're gonna measure out 2 cups and pour it in the engines. It seem obvious, but if the engine is on an engine mount and it's tilted, you want to use the oil fill on the higher side, because there is an oil fill on each side of a Predator 212. Going in with the royal purple. All right, it's interesting. We just went and traded this engine at Harbor Freight. The new ones, there used to be handles, holes in the box on the side where you could pick up the box and you would look through that hole to see whether it was a Hemi or a non-Hemi engine. So now there's no way to look inside it without opening up the box. Josh O'Neill over at 593 Motorsports says that if it has staples on the top, that it is a Hemi. No staples is a non-Hemi. So Wyatt's about to open this thing up and we're gonna find out if Josh is right.
Ready?
Ready. What say you? Look down on the side. What we got? Can't hardly tell, but that is definitely a Hemi. That's a cast head. I mean, a cast valve cover there. It's going to be some rectangle in shape. So, Josh is right.
He was right.
All right, we've got all the carts loaded up and we are ready to go, but we're gonna end the video here for this week. We got a lot done. We got the leaf springs changed on the trailer. We got the weight adjusted in Harper's cart. We got the oil change in the carts. We did some organization inside the trailer. We're set up for the next race. So hope to see you there and thanks for hanging out.